I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get matched down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Yes, and a child shall lead them. Buy our merch, you bums! Okay, so this is for an alliance. What's the name of this alliance?
The Epic Underground.
The Epic Underground, which was run by the big homie... Drew has since retired from being a squad leader, or whatever we call it. And, Drew, this one is for you. Huh? You feel special?
So, Drew has finally decided to retire. It's certainly a well-deserved break. I think, you know, anybody who is in any of the alliances in any sort of working leader capacity knows it can get pretty crazy. Now, Drew has plenty of time to relax and enjoy all the Unleash the Archers and Baby Metal albums that he wants. But all joking aside, if it weren't for Drew, the XE wouldn't exist. I wasn't really having any luck getting a Thrash Alliance off the ground, and it was basically his partnership, because he was co-lead with me initially when we first launched, that made the XE possible. So the whole alliance owes him a huge debt of gratitude. So Drew, I hope you enjoy your well-earned break from the duties of running an alliance, and just get a chance to relax and listen to some metal. Take it easy.
Drew, thanks for making the Epic Underground especially epic. Keep metal, my friend. We're gonna miss you.
Hei Drew, kiitos hyvästä työstä Extreme Undergroundin pamppuna. Kiitos paljon.
Thank you, Drew.
Thanks, Drew. I'm gonna go play some Nintendo games now.
Thank you for all the work you put into the Epic Underground. All the best. Hey Drew, I think I discovered more awesome music in the few months since I joined the EU than in the previous decade. My love for metal has been rekindled. So thanks for setting up the epicest of all alliances. Dear Drew. First of all, thank you for welcoming me to my first alliance, the Epic one. That was back in the beginning of February of 2020. Although only online, I have since then, in my view, come to know a passionate alliance leader, who really gives a damn. or 3 if it comes to certain things. I admire that passion, regardless of agreeing or disagreeing with you on whatever it might be. Much appreciation of the polls that have been, and you being so consequential that you are. Keep on rocking, and perhaps one day we'll bump into each other at an European festival. Thank you again. NS.
OSC Tripping here. Thank you, Drew, for your service in the Epic Underground. Keep on rocking.
Good job, guys. That's a really good job. That's a good.
I like that.
That is
you
a
know
good
what?
send-off.
Drew, that just shows you are very loved by the community. They took the time to put that together. It was very well done. Very, very sweet.
Those alliances, man. Holy moly. Shout out to Drew. One of the OGs. For sure. Really good. Really good. All right.
It's so crazy to see, like, people's faces I've never seen before. And I'm like, they know so much stuff about us in the village.
I know.
And, like...
Who are you, northern scoundrel?
Yeah, who are you?
Give us your social security number immediately.
Amy Lee forever. We need your help.
I'm from Nigeria. Okay. I tell him I'm a Nigerian prince. This song is actually for Drew, right?
Apparently they had one epic song, and so it won. And so they wanted this one kind of bumped on the list so he could see it with the thank you video.
Okay, so this is Death, Lack of Comprehension.
Oh.
That
how inviting.
Is going to be a very interesting song. And without further ado, here we are. Yo, this band is so heavy, bro. This band is so heavy. Love the guitar work. Holy moly. What?
Go ahead.
You didn't think it was that heavy?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No.
I love this song. What are you talking about? You hear that guitar?
I was like, how could this be?
You hear how hard that guitar work was?
How could this be?
What did you not
this
like
has
about
Drew's
it?
thank you video and I didn't like it and it was his pick.
That's probably why he quit. He's tired of you having no taste in music. What could possibly have been improved about that song? The guitar work?
It wasn't very smooth. Like I couldn't get on the rhythm of it.
What?
I just couldn't feel it. It was just the conveyor belt being shoved down the conveyor belt feeling. I just didn't feel it. Drew, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, Drew. I mean, look, this is the lady that gave Peace Cells.
I still want to thank you for your contributions.
She gave Peace Cells like a 3 or something.
Don't like your song choice.
What can you do?
Yeah, well, you thought John Lennon was still alive. So.
This song, I think it was in response to. Remember we did Painkiller?
Yeah.
And the kid, there was a kid that killed himself listening to Judas Priest. The parents blamed Judas Priest.
Yeah.
They actually had to go to court, and then after that, the Painkiller record came out or whatever. So the parents were blaming the band for the suicide of their kid. So this song is about that situation. So when it says, laying your guilt and pain on people that had no part in the molding of a life that creates its destruction.
Yeah.
And he basically says,
well,
a reflection of the mistakes to the end, you'll deny your part in the demise of a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean,
that is, you know, when a kid dies like that, it's conventional. It's almost like anathema to blame the parents, which is what he's saying. He's saying it's your guys' fault.
I think that there are cases where the parents are, you know, a big major factor in why a child ends their own life. I just don't think that that's the case in all situations. And I think that sometimes people are way too hard on parents. Like, this is a controversial one, but when that kid slipped into the gorilla cage a couple years ago, and everybody was flipping out, and then everybody was like shitting on her all over online, like how bad of a mom she was and stuff. Yeah. I didn't think it was right, because I'm like, okay, like what parent constantly has their eyes on all of their children? I have 6 kids, so I can't have my eyes constantly, unless I make them, force them to bunch in a group, you know? And like, it's just, stuff can happen, you know? Like, I was at the beach, Orion was right there in front of me, he was hanging out with my mom, and then I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my mom was over there, and I said, where's Orion? And she said, I thought he was with you. I said, I thought he was with you, and I realized he was like, you know, not super far away, but far enough where I wasn't comfortable with it, and I went and snatched him up and brought him back over. He was talking to some little blonde girl down the beach. He really was. He was talking to her. It was so cute. But that was a really scary feeling, and so I can see, like, if you have a bunch of kids, like, that cage was not, like, you know, there's some cages where it's like you're not getting in even if you want to. Like, this was not that type of a cage.
I'm not, what I'm saying is, usually when a kid kills himself, most people will not to the face of the parent. What? They won't say it to the parent's face, like, this is your fault. They might say it behind their back, but they very rarely say, your kid killed himself and it's your fault. Most of the time, people are very sympathetic to this. But this song, he comes out and says, it's your guys' fault. You guys raised him, and now he's dead. It's on you. And 9.9 times out of 10, I would be completely against that. My problem, though, is that
parents are trying to blame them.
They tried to litigate their coping mechanism, which is basically you wanna find some way to blame somebody else,
so you don't have to carry that guilt. Yeah.
And so
yeah, I mean, that makes complete sense to me.
When you do something like that, you know, and that's why I say the whole false guilt thing. I don't hang out in it a lot because it's I've never seen it be productive. I've never seen a guilty person walking around being productive in life, and it actually creates more instances of conflict, because then you end up, you know, doing whatever you can to absolve yourself of any guilt. And then, so if people don't know how to relate to guilt well, it becomes extremely destructive.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
I look at guilt the way I look at any other negative emotion. Like, it's designed to give you the energy you need to get to where you want to go. So if it's a broken relationship, you feel guilty about something that you genuinely did bad, you apologize, you move on. It's that simple. But when you're a parent now and you have this horrible situation, I understand why the parents sued, like in a moment of irrationality or whatever. But I mean, ultimately, we're the parents, so we hold that culpability for our children. And again, I'm not saying if you had a person die on you that it's your fault. I'm saying in this particular situation, I'm not going to say that the band crossed the line, because that's what happened. They went and blamed a guy who had nothing to do with it. And honestly, you know, this guy writes...
Well, I hear what you're saying. Like, why did you allow your child to be so influenced by it? Like, let's say that was legitimately the problem. Like, why was your child so easily influenced by the song of one band? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, Judas...
We try to let our kids see, like, a wide variety of things. So they're not just having just one teacher. Yeah. Like, let lots of things teach them. Let them see a lot of things and let them understand.
That's why I still allow fucking Ben Shapiro in my house. You know what I'm saying? Because that's his thing. You know, hey, I'm not going to enforce my worldview on him if it's not necessary. But, yeah. I mean, I see this situation from both sides. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't have written a song like this in response to it. I would have just stayed quiet and left it alone. But
I would never say that.
But at the same time, he writes extreme music, and the name of his band is Death. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this band is much darker in imagery and lyricism than Judas Priest. So I think there's some self-interest here, which is, hey, if they can do that to him, it's just a matter of time before they come after us. You know, depending on how big we get.
No, for real. Yeah, that's true.
So I do think there's some self-interest there, and again, like, I'm not really a fan of... Yeah, I'm not going to say that. But, the musicianship in this song was crazy. The guitar work was crazy. It was heavy from start to finish. A little bit avant-garde in its transitions, but to me, that made the song even better.
I can't even imagine something happening like this. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the worst fear of every parent, and you know, it's tough for them. Lack of comprehension, thriving on your cliche, compelled by self-resentment. Whoo! I mean, this guy is completely merciless. I think he's right, though. I think, you know, a lot of couples, like, they get divorced after the death of a child. You know, so a lot of couples, like, it's too much. They can't make it, you know.
Yeah, you know, Johan said the other day, he was like, something happened. I don't remember what it was, and he was like, sometimes there's something that's not, like, as dangerous as they think it is, but I don't want to, like, be like, oh, that's not that bad, because then I don't know where they'll take it. So it was, like, one of those situations, and he was, like, concerned about something, and then he was, like, he looked at me, and he said, Mom, I don't think our family would survive the death of a child.
Who said that?
Johan. And I was like, I really didn't know what to say to him, because, like, sometimes I think about if I was in that horrible situation where, you know, the house that I used to live in, they had 5 kids, four boys, and the last child they had was they had 5 boys, the last child they had was a girl, and she was like 4 or 5 years old, and the 9 or 10-year-old was supposed to be watching her, and he got distracted, as kids do, and she went out on the road, and the bus driver hit her. And she did not make it. And, yeah, that was just such a horrible situation. And then they always blamed, honestly, I think it was the mom a lot, blamed the one that was supposed to be watching the little one.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I mean, that'll do it.
It's like,
that'll do it.
You know, and so all his life, like, growing up, like, they were always after him. and you know, everything was always his fault all the time. And I was actually talking to, you know, that other guy that you say is super smart, and I always say he's super boring. He did some translation stuff.
James White?
No, friend of yours.
Oh, Steve.
Well, I wasn't going to announce that for
you.
Fuck
that nigga. Who cares?
Okay, well, anyway, he was friends of the family.
Fuck you.
And so he was friends of the family, and he said he remembers that it was always that guy's fault. And I've actually heard from multiple people that it was always like that. And then, you know, he grew up, and then he, you know, ended his own life.
That's the guy that threw the pig head into the masjid.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. They're trying to get him on a hate crime, and he killed himself after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these two kids, I mean, it's pretty terrible. I mean, one of them blew himself away, I guess.
See, my thing is, I don't even know. Oh, in this story? This story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I would just have to get out of this situation, because I feel like I would end up saying, like, I think that kid is already going to, it doesn't matter what you tell them, they're going to feel so much guilt for that. Like, they were the ones that were supposed to be watching, and their sister or their brother died on their watch. Like, that is a horrible thing for them to have to live with. But, like, I feel like in that moment, I would, even if I kept my mouth completely shut, I feel like in my eyes they would see it. That I was like, how could you have, you know what I mean? And the blame. But, God, please, Lord, don't put me in that situation. Honestly, this is going to sound really crazy, but I actually try to prep myself for that all the time, to not say anything and just whatever if something happens to one, because...
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, so that... I'm kind of torn, you know. So one of the kids blew himself away, died instantly. The other one, I think, poisoned himself or something, and was actually, like, he was part of the lawsuit. Like, he was part of the lawsuit. And then he died later on. He was on, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wasn't able to recover.
Oh, God.
So right here is the line, though, where I think he crossed the line. Reaching into the midst of those that created the depression in which they drowned their flesh and blood.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Well, he's saying you guys killed your own kids, you know, your own flesh and blood. You guys killed your own kids, and now you're trying to put it on, you know, Rob Halford.
No.
And I again, I understand the outrage, and I understand that he's got a stake in it. I'm not sure I could have wrote that, but at the same time, they try to end this dude's career. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just a horrible situation.
Would he have gone to jail if they found him guilty?
I mean, he would have. You could definitely sue for wrongful death and get millions. Like, for example, what's his face? OJ. Yeah, he got off on the criminal child, but then they sued him for wrongful death, and he had to pay millions. So it would have destroyed the band, you know.
Yeah. I mean.
So, and the larger issue would be what would happen to metal going forward. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, 95% of the songs on metal are depressive, angry, homicidal, suicidal, genocidal. Mm-hmm. So if he would have lost that case, that would have set a pretty horrible precedent for all of metal.
Oh, for sure.
So I can imagine being back there in that time period and being like, yo, this is an assault on our music, and what people outside of the metal community do not understand. And I think you saw a little of it with the intro, actually, is how close metalheads are to one another around a shared favorite band. There's nothing like that. Nothing. Mm-hmm. I just discovered Korn. I was a black kid in the Bronx, New York, and I remember after I bought my first, so I saw Korn at Woodstock. I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. Immediately, like, I became like, blah. I remember getting Follow the Leader, playing it all the way through, and just like, I actually get a little emotional. It was such an important day in my life, man. Like, I cannot explain it. And then I took some, what do you call that? Whiteout. That's what we used to do. I had my little black Jan on it, and I put corn on it, you know, for the first time. I put corn on my backpack. I painted my nails, and then I went out. I went outside, and I was like, all my friends was like, yo, what is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, man, whatever. I was like, man, you guys, I didn't even tell anybody because I'm like, man, y'all are stuck on that rap shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, so finally my best friend's like, bro, just let me hear this band. Like, let me hear it. I'm like, nah, man. So finally,
right? He couldn't just go on YouTube. That's so funny.
Yeah, finally I gave him.
You did the CD.
I taped it. Oh,
you did?
Yeah. And I gave it to him, and I was fully expecting that he was like gonna laugh me out, you know, because that's how he was. He just we'd laugh at each other when we said stupid shit. He came back the next day. He's like, bro, that shit is hard right from the beginning. And I was like, man, he's just saying that. He's trying to make fun of me, but like, he started rocking in the middle of the hallway, just like
that's awesome.
So after that, like me and him, like we just became like crazy corn kids. I wish I threw away that backpack, but I should have kept that backpack. It's historical. But it had Manson on it, had all this shit, and it had like.
You didn't even get. When did you get rid of that?
I was in a little prayer season. They had too much bad juju attached to it, but like I put so much like inflammatory shit on my book bag. I put "I love cops" on my book bag. Now, I don't love cops, but I was just like, I don't care. Like, fuck with me. Like, I don't care. So I put that shit on my book bag. So I was like rocking that shit in the Bronx, New York. Got Marilyn Manson. I got Korn. I had, I think I put "fuck you." I put some crazy shit on there. My mom was like, they're going to kill you. They're going to kill you. I was like, man, anybody going to touch me? But inside, I was like, good. I hope they kill you. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I was crazy. But yeah. But like, people don't understand how important metal is to metalheads and the subculture. I remember one time "Falling Away From Me" came out. I got it, taped it, and right when it, you know, like in the middle where he goes, fuck! Dude, we were listening to that song like on the way to the library. This is in public, broad daylight. When that middle part came, we both stopped and just started rocking right on the sidewalk. Broad daylight, buses, people laughing at us. But we just did not care. Mm-hmm. That is the metal community. We don't care. This is our thing. It's a subculture. It's quasi-religious to a degree. Mm-hmm. So if you look at Judas Priest, really the entire metal world was being held hostage by the verdict of this trial, because it really would have changed the face of metal.
Oh, absolutely.
Forever.
I wonder if there would have been, you know, like on the pack of cigarettes, there's a Surgeon General's thing. I wonder if you'd have to put something like that on the CD.
Well,
so it would kind of make you not liable.
Yeah. I think what happens illegally, if you go down that road, then it sets it up to be a public health crisis.
Jeez.
So when there's a public health crisis, like, you know, like for example with Biden, he's like, I might make menthol cigarettes illegal. Mm-hmm. You know, considering all the revenue they were making for locking people up for marijuana is starting to dry up. They got to find another way to make revenue, so now it's cigarettes. That if you make menthol illegal and you make cigarettes illegal, then you get caught with cigarettes. You can go to prison now. So we can switch that out.
Wow.
Switch that out for weed.
Leave people alone. Wow. Go after the real criminals.
But they are criminals smoking that menthol. What's wrong with you? You should be smoking some weed instead. Maybe they'll have a Just Say No campaign for menthol.
Oh my god.
I mean, really, if there was going to be a plant or some sort of thing to outlaw, if I had a time machine, I'd say, okay, outlaw cigarettes, leave weed legal. I mean, we're killed.
Oh, absolutely.
Millions of Americans have died over this cigarette shit. But yeah. So I understand where the animus is coming from here, because people in the community, I'm assuming, because I know how I would have felt. They took it personal. I mean, I was there.
How could they not?
I was there with, well, for example, Marilyn Manson. Mm-hmm. After the Columbine incident, everybody was blaming Manson, and I mean, he didn't have to go to court for it, but Columbine at the time, there was no 9/11, remember?
What that would have been like to be him.
So Columbine...
That was like the first big time that ever happened. Columbine was like the...
Well, it wasn't the first active shooter.
Okay, well, it was the first one that got so public that it went everywhere.
That's the problem.
And to be blamed...
The problem, you're right, because the problem is people were not used to seeing the shit happen in real time. Because we didn't all have cell phones with cameras or whatever. So when you'd watch the evening news, all you saw was the summary of it. But with Columbine, the kids had cell phones, so they were calling their parents, and then the news got a hold of it. And so I remember very distinctly, because I just had one of my teeth, whatever. Seeing this kid like hanging out of a window and then dropping and then running away. That was the first thing I saw. And I said, "Mom, what's going on?" She's like, "I can't shut up the school. Oh, why shut up the school?" I was like, "What?" And then sure enough, they start talking. They're pow, pow, pow. I was like, "Oh my God." Eventually, for a training video, I had to sit and watch what happened inside, and it was pretty terrible. So to blame Marilyn Manson for that is insane.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people that say, no, the musician has no influence. Musicians absolutely have influence. And we know it. That's why when I was rolling out to do something, I put on Mo Murder. That was in my, I go take a trip or whatever. Mo Murder was on the short list. Right. Because that song got me into a certain type of headspace. So I'm not going to say that it doesn't influence you. My issue is, though, your parents should be a deeper influence over your actions, thought processes, and beliefs than some rock star they've never met before.
Right.
And for the life of me, I cannot understand why people don't see that. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a big Manson fan at the time, but we were just trying to be provocative. So we all went out and bought black trench coats because the Columbine kids were called the Trench Coat Mafia. So...
Yeah, I remember that.
When all that shit happened, we went out. Everybody in the crew went out and got black trench coats. Everybody. So my girl had it, I had it, Reef had it, everybody had it. So we were walking down the hall. They were like, "Yo, Trench Coat Mafia!" And of course, at the time, the girl was crazy. She still is. She's like, "Yeah, come to school tomorrow. We're gonna kill all of you." She's insane. And she had a very good mother. And it wasn't Marilyn Manson's fault. She was just, homicidal. But. I wish I could find that picture. I'm gonna look very, very hard for that picture because you guys get a kick out of it. I don't know where that picture was. Was it on Facebook? Nah, I don't think I put it on Facebook. I couldn't. That would have screwed up my my thingamajiggy. All right, where did you get the song?
6.3.
6.3. This song is a 10, bro. This song is a 10. Just for the guitar work alone. Sorry, I didn't know what she's talking about. Just for the guitar work alone, this song is a 10. Drew, thank you, my man. You deserve the break, and you deserve much more. We appreciate the hell out of you. Send me an email, vinandsori@gmail.com, and anything in the store that we have is yours for free. If you want it, all you got to do is ask. Did we just give away a shirt today?
We did.
Did Daniel?
Doesn't Drew live in Maine?
Yeah, I think I probably hand delivered to him. Does Daniel? Daniel took the shirt,
he
right?
Did.
He was happy about it. His face was all red and shit.
Oh, anyway.
If you're watching, Daniel, shout out to you, little homie. Good to see you, buddy. And you suck at ping pong, huh? Practice your serves. Then out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.